you guys get this manual. Where's the manual?
Man, you
wouldn't
know,
that
I
be great?
wished. I wish we would have kept that manual, man. I know.
You didn't keep
we
the
lost
emblem.
It.
You didn't keep the manual.
No, you don't know
You know
because
what?
back then we used to move a lot.
Next time I see you, I'm gonna have a Toyota emblem around my necklace.
You know,
Base, we used to move a lot because we didn't have the money to stay in one steady place. So in one of those moves, that
it
got
stayed around
lost.
for a while. I remember
it stayed
hearing,
around.
and it was a manual.
Do you remember the
and-
name of it?
No, it was just equipment, leasing, and finance. It was a manual.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you,
Parker's, I think it
wasn't good in
was-
school. I failed. Who fails at the third grade in public system, man? That's an
Bobby
automatic.
Castro.
So
Well, I failed in first
you
grade.
can be
so.
self-taught, man, on anything. If you're motivated and have the clarity, especially with the internet.
Oh,
I mean, the world's flat now. Everything's
here's
available.
Everything's
so
reachable.
I'm in this moment probably 2 years ago, and I'm walking through the airport. I travel a lot, just like you do, and for work. I'm like, I want to be inspired today, right? And as entrepreneurs, nobody else inspires us except for ourselves. We got to look for and inspire ourselves. And I was like, man, I want to hear a good story. So I go into the airport. One of these stores has books, right? And I see this book about the story and life of Samuel Adams. Do you know who Samuel Adams is?
Yes, of course.
I read one paragraph of the book, and I was done with the book. And here's what it said. It said, out of every American life, Sam Adams quite possibly had the most impressive second life of any American that has ever or will ever live. He wasn't ignited until he was 40 years old. And when he became 40 years old, he became one of the founders of the greatest nation, came up with ideas and this, that, and there was a spark that happened to him. And it went on, and it just talked about all his accomplishments in this first paragraph. And I stopped and I go, this dude also didn't have a car, by the way. Okay. Didn't have a car, but didn't have a cell phone, didn't have the internet, didn't have a manual to buy for $1,700. And he goes and creates one of the most impressive lives
Incredible.
ever existing in the last part of his life. And I was like, I don't need to be inspired at any more than that one paragraph.
right?
And so I'm hearing the same thing from you. It's like, that was 1990 to 1994, right? In that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
30 freaking years ago. And there are people that still to this day make excuses with the internet at their disposal.
Yep.
Crazy.
And I don't know that, I mean, is it that they have to hit rock bottom? Or is it that they can be inspired by a mentor? Is it that a beautiful, amazing woman needs to come into their life and support them? I think it's different for everybody.
I think, and by the way, Warren Buffett, look it up. 50 years old, everything started for him.
Yeah.
50 years old. I think it's from distractions. It's, again, what you're given focus and energy to is what you're going to receive back. It's a real quick fix, guys. Anybody in this great country, mental and physical health, you can become wealthy. What you focus and give energy to, that's what's going to come back. If you're unhappy of what's coming back to you or what you're receiving, look at what you're focusing and giving energy to. Yeah. How's your relationship with your device when it comes to social media? Are you benefiting it, leveraging it to impact your life, or are you just burning and scrolling in Wonderland looking at people celebrate?
To believe what people are putting out there.
Look for a mentor. Look for
Which
someone
is
to get
real.
inspired by. Look for real individuals that have done it, because you want to deal with people or learn from people that have been through hell, and somehow, some way found their way back. That is information you want. And guess what, man? It's free everywhere, on YouTube, everywhere. You don't have a nickel or a window to throw it out of. You can't join a mastermind. You can't join. I don't
I've
care.
never
The
heard
internet,
that before in my life.
The internet is there.
You don't have a nickel or a window to throw it out of? Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay, but there's a parallel here in my life, okay? And maybe you've heard the story before. You prepared, right? You're working. You had this moment. You're working 2 jobs. You then see the classified ad and the Better Business Bureau lead at the exact same time. It's the same company.
Small
You're like,
opportunity.
oh my gosh.
Yep.
Somebody else that wasn't preparing and working really hard would not have even seen that as an opportunity.
Could have hit me on the nose.
My parallel is I was a contractor for a long time, and I had one of my clients notice me. Her name was Bethany, and very similar to this guy that you guys. Okay. So you guys were driving him home. Is that what you guys were doing?
Yeah, I was.
No, he would drive him home.
I wasn't, and Sophie would pick
so
me up
you
at the
did
gas station.
at one point. You actually learned how to drive.
Yeah. I used to drive his car at home, and then Sophie would have to pick me up later. because he couldn't drive.
Remember,
It
he was
at night.
driving the old man's car, not
Oh, you
Bobby's
were?
car.
No, yeah, from the office.
Oh, bro.
And then Sophie had to go pick me up. I only wanted like 30 minutes with him in the car, one-on-ones.
Okay, this is so
Yeah.
good. So Bethany, I was doing fix and flips for her. I was about 28 years old. And, you know, I had done, at this point, I'd probably done 4,000 renovations for other people with my construction company. I was working, grinding, giving attention to this thing, and it was bringing me back the dividends. But I wasn't getting wealthy. I was just rich.
Yep.
I was at least rich in my own mind.
Yep.
And she stops me, and she says things to me. She makes me spend money right there. She says, you want to learn how to get started in real estate? Stop bitching and moaning about it. Pull out your stupid phone, and I'll show you how to spend the money. She forced me to spend $5,000 right there. Wow. And I spent $5,000 on postcards to homeowners. And that very next month, those postcards land. I started taking phone calls, and I made $50,000 my first month in real estate.
You see that?
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? That's all it took was me taking action?
Taking action.
Oh, my gosh. And that was the moment for me.
The light switch went off.
My book, the whole book of my life, of my professional life, was dedicated to Bethany. She even I just had a book that hit the Wall Street Journal bestseller, #1.
Congrats, man.
And she's the first chapter of that book. She sends me a text. She's like, I didn't know you put me in the book. I'm like, Bethany, you changed my entire life. Yeah. She's like, no, you know how many people I told the same thing to, Pace? How many other contractors I told the same thing to? None of them took action. She's like, I was actually in my mind getting sick of telling all these people I was working with, get in real estate. She was like, I almost didn't even tell you that day that I told you.
Incredible.
So this guy, he's like, all right, my sons are basically degenerates. This Bobby's guy has kind of become a son to me. Yeah. And you got yourself in his world, and you treated him like a father. You showed him love, and you did things for him, I'm sure. You probably were serving him every chance you could.
And he was rooting for me.
Yeah, and he was rooting for you like you were his son, because you did things to put yourself in that situation. It wasn't like he just came, hey, Bobby, let me just give this to you. And what I like about it is he made you spend the money.
Yeah.
Because he easily could have just given. Homeboy had enough money.
Of course.
He didn't need $1,700.
Nope.
But he made you commit.
Yep.
Imagine if he didn't make you pay. What if he just says, here you go?
Would you wouldn't have taken it serious at all.
Interesting.
Not as serious. I probably would have taken, but no, $1,700 was everything. Her mother gave it to me. I mean, it was everything. It was my last friggin' relationship not to burn.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know how many people he told us would buy the $1,700 manual and do absolutely zero? I think Bobby was one of the only ones that did.
And I stayed in touch with him for a number of years. He passed away. He was older at that time. And it just, you know, preparation opportunity. So if you're broke, you're struggling, you can still prepare. What's going on in your life now, like the mess I was, fix that situation, correct it. There's so much value add there that you can add value. And then when you hit that ceiling, ready for that next, make sure you look back and you got everything off that, every crumb off that floor before you go to the next stage. Because guess what? In life, stages never end. That's what's great about it. So much scale. There's so many stages. I feel like sometimes I'm in a friggin' video game.
I say this all the time to people. I say, I feel like I'm in a video game that I uncover new levels and new universes all the time. I'm like, where was this? I know. Where was this whole time? And I was talking to a guy. He says, you just weren't ready for it. I was on a plane, and I'd say 4 months ago, he's with this guy. It was a private plane, 5 people on it. He was sitting across from me, and we start talking. I go, dude, where have you been my whole life? How have I never met you? You're so incredible. He's the guy that's taking the Anaheim Angels from Anaheim, California to Nevada. He's brokering that deal. Nobody knows. He's like one of these magicians behind the scenes that makes magical things happen, right? And I'm like, dude, why did it take me so long to learn that you even existed? He goes, have you worked on some personal development recently? I go, yeah, always. He goes, have you had any like big things happen in the last 30 days? I go, yeah, I just had this thing, and I told him a 3-minute story. And he goes, that's what it was. Yeah. The universe wasn't going to let you meet me until you fix that problem in your life.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, damn. He's like, there's so many levels to this. The universe will only deliver to you what you're ready for. And he's like, you just got to realize that there's a new level every single day that you can open up, new doorways, new relationships, things you didn't even know existed. Life is so abundant and so fun. It's like the multiverse. You're just constantly finding new universes of making money, working on yourself, new levels of happiness with your spouse. Like, you guys have been together 35 years.
Yeah, dude, 34, and we'll be 33 this October.
Married, 34
in 40
together.
days. Yeah, 34 together.
33 married, and
And
then
Does this
35
include?
would be in December will be 35 years that we've been together
But you did break up for a month.
for a month.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few in between heartburns.
Yeah, in between our marriage, we
most
didn't.
of my fault. That's why I believe in change, man. I'm going to keep going back to that. Change exists. I know that in my heart. I just know that. Change is real.
Yeah.
Anyone can change. You can change your life.
You are incredibly impressive.
Thank you.
Like, unbelievable. And,
Yep.
you know, we were talking out here in the office about women choosing their lane.
Yep.
Or just people in general choosing their lane.
Yep.
Their lane. We should do another
Yes, I would
podcast
love
on
to.
just that topic, because I think there's a lot of people that will watch this and go, "Well, I'm glad that we talked about the backstory," because I think a lot of people look at you guys and go, "Oh, 750 million in real estate. You sold the company for $1 billion. You got this. You got this. You got this. Must be nice." And they don't realize that you had to go beg a woman to pull sweaty dollars out of her bra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweaty dollars were pulled out of her bra so you could then buy a manual
Yeah, it wasn't even a business.
that
It was
you
a
had
manual.
to then go read and execute. And then you followed up for 2 years, calling, while having a baby next to you. Do you know how many people use that as an excuse?
Oh, 100%.
People use that as an excuse.
With-
Oh, it's so
and-
hard.
And
you
we
don't
were on
understand.
food stamps.
Yeah.
And you're on food stamps, and you came from a background that didn't teach you any of this stuff. You have to figure it out on your
None.
own. So, do you remember when you hired your first employee?
Actually, yes. Our first employee was
Was it Rudy?
it was
A
Rudy or
mailman.
Peter. No, it was
Did
Johnny
you say
and
you're a
Peter.
mailman?
No,
It was
we hired.
actually-
It was Rudy. I think
No,
it's Rudy.
baby, because we
It-
were at-
Rudy.
we-
He was a
baby, we were-
mailman.
We were at State Road 84, and it was Johnny, Peter, and Marina. Remember? Next to Rudy didn't come in until we were in Western.
that's right. So Sophie's right, and this is
Do you
good.
see this recurring theme that Sofia just
Yes.
corrects him most of
It's
the
been
time?
such a long time,
Yeah.
but you know, this is a very important theme here, Pace.
Yeah.
Really important. When we open a business like Sophie and I did, the first thing you do is hire friends and family. It's the only one you know, and they have no understanding of a skill set for it. But it's a right thing to do. But we hung on to them a little too longer than we should have, and I just wanted to make sure that doesn't maybe happen to someone else. If you can hire someone other than a friend or a family, please do so.
It's happened. It's happened to me.
Okay.
And the best.
But they
man-
were beautiful. I'm very grateful for
They
them.
helped us
Well,
a whole bunch.
I had best man at my wedding. I don't talk to anymore. I brought him in as a business partner. He was not a good fit. We were basically, we never brought in integration. It was just visionary. Fight. I had an existing business at the time, 6-7 years old, doing $20 million a year in revenue, and I go, I want to expand into insurance work. I want to bring you in as a partner and bring you into that department only. And it didn't work out. It was so bad that we ended up, we don't talk anymore.
Really?
And I regret it, but you learn how to hire people. And you learn, these are skills that you have to learn. But what's great is that you guys actually did things the right way because you didn't know any better.
We didn't know any better.
And
at
you could have used not knowing any better as an excuse to not do
But
anything.
also, Pace, we had our families were struggling so badly as well.
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, we have an open position. Who are we going to offer this to? A family member that's struggling or
Yeah.
to a stranger that we don't know? Back then, of course, we didn't know
I've done the
that
same
if
thing.
they didn't have the skill sets, it was going to harm us, right?
Yeah, and hold you back.
And hold us back. We didn't have that mentality. For us, it was like, my God, we have to help our families,
Yep.
right? So
That's why you build a business.
and exactly.
for family.
And by the way, we just like a lot of people had the worst credit that you can ever have. We've had worse credit a couple times in our lives. We rebuilt our credit. We've been through it all, guys. And I keep going back to the struggle because I want to have others understand, okay, but it doesn't have to be that any longer. You can start doing something because I don't want people to compare Sophie and I, where we're at today, where you're at now. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, it's going to be such a long journey. It's not. You can get there half the time it took us. You don't have to 20 years. When we started that company, let's just call it when we really started it, you could do it in 10 years. You could do so many things differently and better, and you can get there faster, more efficient, more effective. But I think a lot of people get intimidated that they're comparing stages like you, I, and Sophie here when they're out there. And I want them to just win right here.
Yeah.
And if you win right here, you know what that Dr.
Compounds.
Feel Good
It's the
feels, man?
best.
It's like
Yeah.
you feel like you're winning and you want more of it.
Yeah, and another
Momentum.
thing too that I say, a lot of people look at us and they think either we were, like either come from a golden platter child that was passed on, that we had a degree.
You can tell she didn't grow up in English speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Because what's the right phrase? What do you know what the right phrase is there?
Golden child, no,
Silver platter.
Silver
Oh,
platter.
you said the
Okay,
golden pattern.
I love it. I love it so much.
No, I like gold. Okay, so
I love it's a golden platter.
I love it. Golden pattern.
So a lot of people come to us, they either think that we came from money, that we graduated from university. I don't know. They think so many things. And when we tell them our story, they're like, but what do you mean? You did that on your own like that? So I love to be able to tell others, don't let others judge you or tell you that you can't do it because you're not smart enough, because you didn't go to, a university and got a bachelor or whatever. It's more about your mindset, and it's what you really want out of life and what you focus on, like Bobby was saying. Because look at me more than Bobby in this sense, mindset. Bobby already had come from a PMA mindset.
Yeah.
I had no clue what PMA nor what entrepreneurship was, but because of his influence on me with that, I didn't allow for, like, when I dropped out of school, that I was thinking I wasn't smart enough, I need to just drop out, this is not for me. At that time, it was just like, wait a minute, if he says we could do it, let's do this. Let's
Well,
focus
also too,
and get
Sophie,
there,
we
right?
separated ourselves from our environments. We disconnected from a lot of family, a lot of friends, beautiful people we love today. But in order to accomplish what Sophie just illustrated, I would highly propose you to transfer yourself out of the environment you're in now, because if not, the odds are going to be against you, because you're going to always be hit with these thoughts and these comments from people, because they don't know any better either. But just try to remove yourself so you can at least intercept maybe a new process of life, because if not, you don't have the capacity, because you're just too busy with suffocation.
Would you say that one of the biggest challenges that people have is that they will make a change, but they don't have the patience to be consistent long enough to see the result?
1,000% pace.
Because what I see is that you guys, even though you got the manual and you started working on, I mean, by the way, I kind of look at the manual in my mind as like the sports almanac from Back to the Future.
It's a big ringer
It was
like
just
this,
a
a
ringer.
manual.
Listen, the papers inside were copies from his machine.
Oh
If
my
you would have
gosh.
seen him, it was just regular. And you could
But
tell
let
that
me
he
tell
did his
you,
own holes.
What information, dude?
I know.
What
So-
information in there?
But here's the challenge: is a lot of people will make a change, and they'll do it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're so impatient. Like what you guys actually did from the day that you bought the manual, you guys put in all this work, and even though you went and sold this company for $1 billion, $1 billion, what you really were learning there was mindset, how to hire people, how to get the right teams, how to communicate better with each other, you
create a
worked on your
culture.
mindset, right? That if you went back again today in a time machine to yourself in that manual, how long did it take from the day you bought the manual to the day you sold the company for $1 billion? How many
20
Longer
something
than that.
years.
30 years?
30 years.
Okay, so 30 years. If you could have gone back knowing what you know now to that guy that had the manual and said, look, I'll just walk you through this, could you have done it in 10 years?
Without a shadow of a doubt, with 100% of conviction
Yes.
and transparency, yes.
Okay, but it took you 30. And so here's the thing is people don't even want to be consistent for 10. They don't even be consistent for 1 year. Like the thing I heard was you were banging out phone calls for 2 years while she was working nights, you were working day, you were banging the calls, you guys were switching off you did that for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before
Yes.
you then were
No
like
ad budget. We were making
And it was
cold
just Bobby
calls.
and I at that
cold
point.
call. And then you got some momentum. You won here. You then took all the crumbs off the table. You then said, all right, it's time to start winning here. You didn't hire any employees for those first 2 years, right?
No way, no.
We couldn't even afford to put an ad. This was strictly cold calling, like Bobby hitting the phones all day long.
I was just in it
Yeah.
for the long run. Again, that classified ad. Just think about my mindset and your mindset now. I was make 10,000 now, become rich now. Those were the taglines I was responding to. So I wanted it fast. I was impatient. So I was already setting myself up for failure. What you want to do is not bite into that. You want to be in it for the long game, because to create wealth, it doesn't happen overnight. And I always say this, you can invest the same time getting rich or getting wealthy. Same time, same effort, same energy, different strategy. Which one do you want to put? This is the one. I used to be so focused here.
I'm making the 10 grand today.
And then you know what? To give you the little illustration, when they came to the company, and it was a knock on the door, by the way, and it's a story to that. Hey, we want to buy 30% of the company based on a $250 million valuation, all cash. And of course, it took us 30 seconds to say yes. And man, it closed really quick, with a few months. All this money and the wire transfer, we'd never seen that much money. She was emotional. She started crying. My beautiful wife was thinking about her family. I wasn't. I was thinking about, why would they close so quick? I was like, I was already past this money phase, because I'm done with the money. I tried that game. That's a life of, there's no abundance there, man. I used to chase money first. I had it so wrong, man. Money was by the truckloads for you if you go the other way. I'm more focused, and then I started realizing you do the power of Google.com, and then I never knew about multiples. I knew about real estate.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't understand
Yeah,
anything
I
about.
had
I didn't even understand
no
about
clue.
the valuation
EBITDA.
of our own
I never
company.
even knew what that was.
I find out
yeah.
that they stole it.
Yeah.
I said, good for them. They had their first right refusal, meaning that if you ever want to take more chips off the table, we have the first bibs. Learned it. 11 months, under 1 year. We go back. Hey, we want to take 19% more off, but still own and control 51. Because remember, we sold 30, we own 70. Great. We're going to take it. And it was a big institution. Today's gigantic institution. Back then, they were gigantic, but now they're even more gigantic. We'll take it. Great. But it's not 250. It's $600 million. You're out of your mind. Then I started getting really understanding how to have communication skills. I understand. I get it. It's a lot of money. I'm just exercising my right. It closed more or less the same time, all cash. Now, you know why they stole it? Because we were
knew.
focused here. On your business, you could be focusing here, and you could be that stupid Bobby, that egomaniac. But the market wants to buy this. If we would have focused our energy here, we would have got 500 million, not 250.
Yeah.
Your business, how are you focusing, and where are you focusing within your business?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? You can always constantly learn. It's an evergreen. Student of life.
Now you know why I want to hang out with you guys all the time.
Come on over.
Well, because
move
you
down to
guys
Florida.
have 35 years of amazing experience that you can condense into an hour and a half long podcast, more or less, right? It's pretty amazing. I mean, you hear all the excuses. You hear people say, but I want it tomorrow. I want it next year. I tell people this story all the time. I was in 6th grade, North Ogden Elementary. I had 3 buddies. Every Friday, we would accumulate enough money, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from skimming off the top of our lunch money, that we'd have enough money to go down to the gas station after Friday school. So, lunch was $1.50. I would figure out how to eat my lunch for $1, save my 50 cents every day, and I'd have $2.50 at the end of the week. Now, what do I get to do? I get to leave elementary, 6th grade, walk down with Tyler and Ethan and all my buddies, and we would walk down from the gas station from elementary to 7-Eleven. We'd buy penny candies, Ruby Red Squirt, and man, I just had the greatest time of my life. I look forward to that Friday every single week. Well, one Friday, my buddies are all at a soccer camp, and I don't play soccer, so I'm there hanging out on Friday by myself. What am I going to do? I'm going to walk down to 7-Eleven by myself. It went faster, and I got all the way down to 7-Eleven, and that Ruby Red Squirt, that little soda that sometimes me and my friends are fighting over the last one in the glass door, there was plenty of them for me. I buy the thing, I go out, I open up the Ruby Red Squirt, and I taste it, and I go, man, this just doesn't taste as good. And I realized at 6th grade, 11 years old, I realized that the destination was never the goal. It was the journey with my friends and hanging out with people and having fun along the way.
Stimulation.
And I see so many people like, I want to get rich. I want to get rich. Are you enjoying time with your spouse? Are you enjoying time with your kids? Are you working on yourself? Are you like people's impatience is they are only looking at the end goal as the goal. Yeah. You guys, you know, I don't know how it was for those 35 years, but I imagine you guys had some fun vacations with your kids.
Oh, yes,
amazing.
100%.
I mean,
when we were
months
able
at
to
a
afford
time.
it, we were able to go
course.
on vacation, I think, like
Europe.
10 years into our
That was
journey.
our very first vacation. We went on Carnival Cruise Line.
Yeah,
We were
Carnival
very mindful
Cruise
with our
Line.
money. And of course, wealth, you have freedom. We go on vacation and it's months at a time. It's just, we're very blessed. But you know what? We worked our tail off for it. And me and my wife choose to stay humble because we don't want to lose who we grew into. This feels so good of who we are now.
Yeah.
And we want to show that to our grandchildren, our children, and not be controlled by money like Bobby was controlled by money. That's why Bobby almost lost his marriage. That's why Bobby never created nothing. That's why Bobby lived a lie. That's why Bobby made a lot of mistakes. It's all cool. You're going to do that. But if you don't learn those lessons, man, you can stay there forever.
Yeah. Last question for you.
Yes.
Where do you think the future of the Castro family goes now?
Oh God, we have a 100-year legacy plan that we're creating.
Damn.
So
Big solid team
it's
helping us.
something that is very important and dear to both of us. We want to create a legacy. Well, we've already created an empire. Now we want to maintain it and make sure that that torch, every time that it gets passed down to a new generation, two things happen. Number one, that they know, our grandkids call us Mimi and Papa. That Mimi and Papa have struggled we fought to be able to create this empire. It wasn't given to us. That's number one, and that they respect that. And number two, that they're able to live this legacy and create another 100 years for their next generation. So, you know, we're creating this booklet that we're giving. Our children are involved in this right now because they're old enough to be able to be part of this. Because right now, Bobby and I have created this, but our kids are going to be here longer than us when this whole 1-year legacy that we're trying to create. So we're teaching them so that they could teach the next generation and the next generation, and this could continue on.
We've been working on it
years.
for nearly 4 years now. It's a team of maybe as high as 20 people involved. These are outside consultants, and it's so deep that Sophie and I have documentary. It's not for anybody in public, but I'll give you a little scope of it. Our last filming, Sophie and I are talking in the camera, and it's a beautiful film crew and all that, and this is constantly documentary. We have 10 meetings with our family. This are all our advisors. We're going over our portfolio, our core values, what does our family stand for, how we're giving back, how we're
philanthropy,
impacting.
everything.
Cameras playing pace, and me and my wife are there, and we're speaking not to my children or their spouses or those grandchildren, speaking to an individual, another grandson, another granddaughter we will never, ever meet because math is math. And we are crying, me and my wife, talking to this individual, saying what we're doing today is for you, and what we expect you to do is carry it forward. We're preserving it. We're being
we don't want this to get
We're not being
lost.
selfish. We are maintaining. We want our legacy not to be like our generations past, even though we love them so much. We want to create a new way of doing how the Castros live.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Rags to riches.
Mm-hmm.
Mira.
Mira.
Dixie, my mother-in-law, and she passed away some years back of cancer.
Mira.
And I think of Dixie a lot,
Yeah,
especially that God has come in my life. Now I'm able to pray with my family. I never did, and that feels good. And because of that, I mentioned to Sofia, how many times I mentioned Dixie. She comes to me so
my
instantly.
mom goes to him a lot.
And we
Still,
were very close.
She's up in heaven, but
angel,
she comes to touch to him, not me. Fortunately, he does.
She's definitely
feel her all the time. I know she's here with me.
Yeah.
That was my best friend, but She loved the Bobby boy.
Mita, we got to get that. We got to get a shirt.
Mira. So thank you for this, by the way. I think in the next podcast, what we should do is do a part 2 where we talk about, you started the business. How did you, go from those 3 employees that were your family members to a bigger office to a thing? And what did you learn through that process? How could you have condensed that going back? You have a lot of business owners that watch my content.
Yep.
And they're like, I'm in that business. I passed that I'm in the rags to, now I'm running a business type of thing. What's my next strategy? How do I stop chasing riches and build wealth with the exact same amount of time?
Yeah.
And I think that could be our next topic.
Yeah, that would be a great topic, actually.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you, dude.
You're the
You and
man.
your wife
Thank
are
you.
awesome people.
It was
man.
so nice
We
having
love
you in our side of
You guys
town,
are the
into
best.
our
Love
office.
your family. It's so unbelievable. You guys, out of
I love
everybody I meet,
yours.
you guys have a culture inside of your family that is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Thank you. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Awesome.
Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
Yes, we do. I do. We both have individual
What's your
ones.
YouTube channel?
I believe it's official Sofia Castro.
Okay, I know that's your Instagram.
I believe it's my
also
YouTube
your YouTube?
also. Yes.
And then
Yes.
Bobby's Instagram is the same thing, official Bobby Castro. Is that his YouTube channel as well? Okay, amazing. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Love you, big guy. Thank
Love you too. Hey, you're the best.
You're awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Pace.
Thank you guys. Please like, please subscribe. In the comments down below, please make a comment. Say, we want Sofia and Bobby to come back and do part 2.
PMA.
PMA, everybody. Stack and rack.